Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, January 11th, and this is Morning Market Movers, where we look at live analysis for day trading and take a look at potential hotspots in the markets for today. I'm Todd Rich. I am with Nadex. With me, Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple. We certainly had a wild ride yesterday. We told you that we were going to be seeing some volatility in the markets this week. We had the Nasdaq. We had actually all the equities go on a wild, crazy ride yesterday, absolutely getting hammered in a late session rally. It was an entirely parabolic retracement. Took back nearly all of the losses. I think the Dow was the only one. I think the S&P might have finished slightly in the red. Nasdaq actually finished in the green, broke a 4 or 5 session losing streak. So we want to take a look at what's going on in the equities markets. We know that it's going to be a volatile week. We've got Powell speaking or testifying today, 10 a.m. He's going to be in front of Congress. We don't know what they're going to ask him, but I think that's going to be a potential market mover. And then we've got the economic numbers coming up all week. CPI tomorrow morning, PPI Thursday morning, and retail sales on Friday morning. So lots to look ahead to. Before Brian and I get into it, I do need to share this disclaimer that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone, that any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. And before I flip it over to Brian, this is here. I've got this back a little bit. This is Fibonacci on the recent high to recent lows in the Nasdaq, and there's some levels that we probably want to be paying attention to in here. But this is the parabolic move yesterday. I mean, just getting absolutely hammered, comes all the way back. We're up in the green, and we were going to be looking to open much higher this morning, but in the last couple hours, everything has sold off and is basically looking unchanged. So maybe it's European traders just taking the profits. Who knows? But I think with Powell speaking, I don't think we're going to see. I don't know what we're going to see, how the retail trader takes this. So, Brian, let me share your screen. And by the way, I think really what we're going to do here is we're going to talk a little bit today, this morning, but I really want to encourage everyone to join the full-blown session that Brian's going to be doing. Hold on, where we go? There we go. At noon Eastern. At noon Eastern. In fact, here, let me drop this link in. You can go there. I think it's the top webinar. That's all the upcoming Nadex webinars. But register if you're not registered, and I think we'll have a little bit more color commentary after we see how retail traders are reacting to yesterday's move and starting to react to Powell's testimony. So, Brian, I'm going to flip it over to you. See what we want to just kind of chat about today.
Yeah, so today's going to be an interesting morning just because we have Powell speaking and testifying at 10 a.m. The opening area, the opening time frame, it's only about 30 minutes. There will be some movement. After yesterday's big rally, we talked about an end-of-day rally. It ended up kicking in way sooner than we expected. And again, a lot of that may be positioning for what we're going to see. There's been some interesting headlines. And again, I think all of this is going to kind of add in. Currencies right now across the board. The biggest mover is the pound yen at 49. So it's not like it's a huge, gigantic mover right now. Everything else is basically flat and waiting. Some of the headlines I'm talking about, which again, we have to kind of factor into this morning. One of them is Bostic about 2.5 hours ago. It's funny, there was articles about how, it pulled back before Powell speaking, but then Bostic came in. If you remember Bostic, he was the gentleman last year that was kind of for tapering, but he didn't want to do it too fast. And again, he was rather slow, one of kind of like the late adopters on it. He said once we do it, it should be fast, but we're not quite ready yet. And now we're at the 39-year high. CPI this week is expected to go up into the 7% range. He is now saying he does expect there to be 3 rate hikes in 2022. Remember, originally, what kind of set everything off with FOMC was the fact that they weren't expecting to raise until 2024. And now all of a sudden it was 2022, and now they're talking about, hey, there's probably 3 raises. So it's coming more in line with what we've been mentioning on the channel. So that's one of the big things. We did have some positive data from Pfizer where they said, within the next few weeks, within basically the next month, we will have a candidate for an Omicron vaccine.
We're going to
And then
need it
again,
because everyone's
yeah,
going to be sick.
yeah, and Moderna said that they would do it, by summertime. So Pfizer was like, "Hey, we'll do that minus 1 month." That's how that it always goes with Pfizer. But I mean, WHO says that Omicron may infect half of Europeans within weeks. So it doesn't matter if they get it within the next week or 2 weeks. The reality is that half of the population in Europe is going to have it by that time anyway, if not more. So it's kind of one of those things that it's coming a little bit too late. Again, maybe it helps for other variations down the road. That would be the most positive thing from that. But obviously, the United States, I think, broke 1.1 million positive cases this morning. So again, it's obviously starting to get a little bit crazy out there. And again, the Supreme Court is now talking about the vaccine mandates, which is coming back up to it. And in reality, they said by doing the mandate, it what does it do? It like stops like 6,000 deaths in the entire United States. So I don't know if the mandates are going to be justified with that. I mean, who knows? But again, that will be data around COVID. So I think the big thing to watch out for today is what Powell act, because remember, Bostic is just a talking head. He is a member, but Powell is the big linchpin and everything. Like, he is the main guy. If he says it, it's probably happening. And again, at this point, I do feel like his hands are forced. Now, looking at charts, yesterday we drew this arrow talking about, hey, this is a big spike. There was nothing out there. There was no real news. We're expecting to come back down again. And as it did, you can see it really started to accelerate around 2 o'clock. And again, that's where that reversal came in. We were talking end of day, and it just went crazy. And again, we talked about bottoms in Apple and Tesla and things like that. And Tesla, obviously, once it hit that 12 o'clock time frame, it took off and really kind of it rallied up and kind of unfolded how we talked about just a little bit earlier. Now, right now, you can see that again, the dollar starting to surge forward again. And again, Bostic's comments, again, being kind of the laggard, admitting that, starting to drive the dollar higher. And what's interesting about the dollar is the dollar index is we do have this area of sellers right here, but you can see we have nothing above. Right? Nothing above. So it's one of those things where, again, if this was any regular normal asset, you'd be like, hey, listen, this is a racetrack scenario where this thing's going all the way back up. It should come back up into this 92, 21 range. So kind of shows you where the market is necessarily primed for right now. And again, what are we seeing? We're seeing gold and silver go up as we're in preparation for kind of these comments. And again, you may say, well, why is gold getting higher? Why is silver getting higher kind of above those ranges that they're talking about? Well, with JP Morgan saying they expect 4 raises and Bostic saying 3, it's kind of like, well, 3 is not going to be enough. No. That means we have a chance for inflation to grow even more. And again, that leads us higher. So, because the worst thing you want to do is start down this path of rising interest rates and then have it go longer and go longer and longer. If inflation continues to rise after the first raise, everyone's going to say you're not doing enough. And again, they can't just do back. They have to kind of see it. It needs a little bit of time to work out. But remember, now there's political pressure because midterm elections later on this year. And this is at a huge hot button right now. So there's a lot of data that's coming today. It's going to be really hard to do a lot of analysis. Be very, very cautious with the currencies being really, really flat. I mean, the Aussie dollar is one we've talked about. The Aussie dollar is already starting to see strength coming back down, and it's coming back down to levels that we were looking for. With all this dollar, and again, it's kind of dollar weakness here, but this is probably the wrong one to use. We'll use the Aussie. Or we'll use the euro. With the euro, pushing back down again, we're seeing dollar weakness creep up ever since Bostic made this call. If Powell comes in and is extremely hawkish, all these are set for longs, but all that momentum we had, early week coming in, the really strong dollar push has been pushed back. We mentioned, is this preparation for the new sellers to come in and things like the euro dollar, getting dollar long, coming flat? And we had a little Harry Potter talking about a break of 113.22. If we're able to break through, and really this 113.20 is a big trigger, we could see something like the euro fall 35, 40 points almost instantaneously with the right question today. And again, Bitcoin has rallied up again. Ethereum's a little bit in the green right now. Even bonds have a little bit of action today, but they're starting to push back down again because they know, hey, listen, there's going to be something this morning. So I would say the way to handle
there's a bit of a risk off right now, just waiting to see. Although apparently, Powell's testimony is already published. We know that's what his prepared remarks are going to be. The question is going to be when they start asking questions.
It's the other ones, yeah. And a lot of times out of courtesy,
the unknown is.
Yeah, and out of courtesy, he tends to know most of the questions they're going to ask, and he kind of already knows. I mean, he's a very smart guy. I don't get to that position without being smart. He kind of knows what they're going to say or what their hot buttons are, but there's always the opportunity for kind of a little bit different one. A lot of times they send him things because when they need specific data, he just doesn't pull that out of his head, right? There's not a computer. He's like, hold on, let me look. Okay, Facebook says, no, that's not how it works. So a lot of times, if they need something with specific data to get out there, they will send him kind of a context of information to have, so it is at his fingertips. But there's always going to be the one that gives that zinger in there. So again, if he says it's not as bad as we thought it was, and then CPI comes out on Thursday, and PPI is even higher, it's kind of one of these like, pal, were you lying on Tuesday, or are the numbers lying today? So they're at a time where they
gotcha. They're playing to play gotcha with them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, right now, looking at the CPI numbers, I mean, month over month, again, it's going up higher, both core and the overall numbers. So, it's a little bit, the regular overall CPI is a little bit less, but again, these are big numbers, and I should be able to see the other ones in here. No, they're not listing the other ones in there because these are the main two. But yeah, so I mean, it's not going down; it's continuing to get higher, and every time it does, it gets worse and worse and worse. Again, for the smaller companies, the lower income families, now with COVID and school system shutting down, the people that it hurts the most, again, are the lower income families. So again, this is just stacking up, stacking up, stacking up, stacking up, and again, it's something that has to be talked about. And again, with midterm elections, it's even more of a pointed button. So,
and the politicians will potentially be trying to play.
Yeah, I mean,
politicians they can get shake it up a bit.
Of course, yeah, they're going to, and like I said, I mean, the Republicans are already saying you've waited way too long to tackle this problem right now. Why have you done nothing? And again, it's the Fed that does it, but again, this is this was appointed and approved by Biden, so I mean, it's not like Powell is Trump's guy; he's now Biden's guy as well. So it's solely on them. But at the same time, if they go too strong and it crashes the market, hey, you caused this recession, this crash and everything. And then it's easy to say, well, it's Omicron, it's because they got unvaccinated. No, it's because of the slow monetary policy changes. So it's a hard thing, guys. I think today could have some fireworks. It could be really slow, and if he doesn't say anything earth-shattering, then again, after yesterday's rally, I think we could probably be in looks for that even more today. But drop it into the 15, see where we go. And again, the way that it's looking right now with a lot of these big bursts, I would say a lot of these things right now are setting up to where we have little Harry Potter shorts coming in here, just in preparation for what he says. Because like I said, he's not going to. I would be shocked if he's like, nah, it's transitory, right? He's not. He's retired that word. They're not using.
He's not going to be doing that. That word's retired.
Right. So there's only so many things that he can say that they're going to watch it closely. Everybody's expecting a hawkish tone, but again, if it's not as hawkish as what he thought, bam, that's where it becomes all of a sudden that he was weaker than what we thought. And again, Powell tends to have a little bit more of a weaker tone when he talks about it. So we shall see.
We're going to see. It's going to be we're sort of
everything is dead on flat right now. I mean, literally 0.02, 0.00, 0.03, 0.07 in the Russell. Everything is completely flat. Everybody's waiting for Powell. And again, look to see what the volatility is. You're going to have to trade for your shorter duration binaries. You're going to have to trade the 9 to 11. You're not going to be able to trade the 10 because once that starts, the volatility, everything will get crazy. And it can, not that I think it's going to happen right at 10 o'clock, but around that time, you'll start seeing some fluctuations. And remember, the bid-ask spread is determined by volatility. Less volatility in the 9 to 11s than the 10 to 12s. So just be cautious.
So and that's where the opportunity will lie. But I want to remind everyone, I did drop the link, and I gave the generic link before, but I gave the link to the session. So at noon Eastern, Brian will be back. He's going to do we're going to be able to speak about what has been transpiring since Powell started testifying, any questions or curveballs that he got. And then at that point, also, we'll be able to start looking at potential setups for tomorrow morning for CPI. Because ultimately there is that number before we even go on tomorrow, CPI tomorrow. And hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to give you a little bit of a glimpse on what to be looking at potentially for PPI on Thursday. So please come back at the full blown session, register, and then you'll be able to get a little bit more information and color commentary, just because right now everything's a little bit on pause, waiting for the Powell. The Powell testimony. Everyone's
the Powell
testimony. Any questions for Nadex? Please email us, customerservice@nadex.com. You got Brian's email at the bottom, support@keeptradingsimple.com. If you'd like to reach out to me, things that you'd like to hear us do more frequently, or things you'd like to hear us speaking about, please reach out. todd.rich@ig.com. I'm all ears. I answer my own emails, so please feel free to reach out. And that's, again, we don't have a lot of color commentary this morning, just because we did have that massive parabolic move yesterday. Market's kind of flat. Everyone's waiting to see how what kind of curveballs get thrown at Powell during his hearing. It's his approval hearing at the Senate. So yeah, I guess we shall see. With that, join us. Come back in 4 hours. We'll have some more, and then Brian and I will catch you again tomorrow morning if you're not able to join then. Otherwise, good luck in the markets, everyone.